Hi everybody, welcome back to Cammie's Kids Reading. Today we'll be starting with Bedhead by Margie Palatini. Shuffle, shump, schluff, shuffle, schlump, shuffle, schlump. Schlumped bleary-eyed Oliver out of bed, down the hall, and into the bathroom. He yawned, he yanked, splashed some water, swished some mouthwash, gave his front teeth a passable brushing, and then, in a gunkless corner of the soapy silver soap dish, in a fogless smidgen of his father's foggy shaving mirror, right there on the hot water faucet, for heaven's sake, he saw it. It was big. It was bad. It was Bedhead. Oliver's hair was out of control, way out of control. There was hair going this way, hair going that way, hair going up, down, around, and around, and there was one teeny tiny clump of hair way at the back of his head that looked like a cat's coughed up fur ball. Ah! Oliver's scream shook. It rattled. It rolled all the way down the stairs and into the kitchen, where Fruit Loops went flying. Milk was spilled, spit and sputtered, and two toasties did triple backflips on the breakfast table. "Oliver? Oliver? Oliver!" shouted Mom, Dad, and Emily as they ran up the stairs and headed for the bathroom door. Mom leaned close to the door. "Closer, closer. That's right, even closer. Is everything all right, Oliver?" she whispered in her calmest calm Mom voice. "Come now, dear. Open the door and let us in." No sound from Oliver. Not a whimper, not a peep. "Please," said Mom. "Pretty please, pretty please." The doorknob slowly turned. Mom smiled at Dad. She gave a wink to Emily. "There you go," she said, taking a step into the bathroom. "Nothing can be that bad." Wrong. It was that bad. "Yes, sir, no doubt about it," said Dad, surveying the hairy situation from Sinkside. "Oliver, my boy, you're just having one bad hair day." "Major," said Mom. "Total," agreed Emily. "Maybe if we just push it this way," Mom said, giving it a try. "Boing! Been there, done that," moaned Oliver. "Perhaps if we just pull it that way," said Dad. "Boing! Been there, done that," groaned Oliver. "I could curl it," offered Emily, ready to roll. Oliver stared a steely stare at his sister. "I don't think so." "Oh, then we'll just wet it," said Mom. "Yes, let's just wet it," they all agreed. So they watered Oliver. They splished him and splashed him, gave him a good soak and dunk. "Ah," they said, sighing, a confident, job well done sigh. Oliver's bedhead was now one dripping wet head. And then it dried. Boing, 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 boing. Hair started going this way, hair started going that way, then up, down, around, and there was now a bigger clump of hair all the way at the back of his head that looked just like a cat's coughed up fur ball. "I say we spray," shouted Dad, taking aim with a squirt. "Yes, spray, spray," cried out Mom and Emily. "So spray already," sputtered Oliver. So they spritzed him and sprayed him, and they gooped, glopped, and moosed him. They even hairpinned him flat in 5 places for good measure. "Ah," they said, sighing a confident, job well done sigh. Oliver's bedhead was now one slick gelhead. And then pins went flying. Boing, 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 bing, 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 boing. Hair started going this way, hair started going that way, then up, down, around and around, and there was now an even bigger clump of hair way at the back of his neck that looked just like a cat's coughed up fur ball. Oliver wondered, maybe if I just sort of, brushed it a bit. No, no, the three shouted, seeing the boy with bristles poised. Whatever you do, no, no, no brush. Too late. Oh yes, the brush got stuck. Not stuck in the hair going this way or that. Not stuck in the hair going up and down. Not even stuck in the hair going around and around. But yes, stuck in the very, very, very stuck in the clump way at the back of his head that looked just like a cat's coughed up fur ball. Mom gave it a yank. Eeyow! Dad gave it a pull. Ooh, ouch, ouch. And Emily gave it one good long tug. Yike! Well, said Mom without a bit of doubt, that brush is stuck all right. Definitely stuck, decided Dad. A done deal, declared Emily. Then, just when they were about to give up hope, Oliver saw the right answer right there on the wall. That's it, he pointed. The hat, go get the hat. So without one more thought of a spritz, spray, or dunk, they all helped Oliver squish, smooth, and cram every bit of bedhead, stuck brush and all, into his faithful old battered but true blue baseball cap. Well, almost. Good enough. And with a kiss and a wave, Oliver headed off to school. Everything was fine. Everything was dandy. And then Mary Margaret, who sat in the third row of class, 4 seats down, 1 desk across from Oliver, in Mrs. Oppenheimer's class in Biddlemeyer Elementary, looked over to him and said, "You can't wear that hat." Oliver looked to Mary Margaret. "Can too, can not, and just why not?" demanded Oliver, holding tightly onto his hat. Mary Margaret grinned. "Because it's picture day." "Picture day?" stuttered Oliver. "Picture day," sung out Mrs. Oppenheimer, standing in front of the class. "Everyone line up for our class picture. Back straight, faces front, and smiles wide, and hats off." "Uh-oh," said Oliver. "Hats off? We're waiting, Oliver," said Mrs. Oppenheimer as everyone took their places. "We're waiting, Oliver," said Mary Margaret. "We're waiting, Oliver," said everyone else. "Hey, kid," said the man behind the camera. "Yeah, you with the lumpy-looking head. Off with the hat." Oliver hemmed, hee-hawed, but he knew he had had it. He lifted the brim and slowly took off his faithful old battered but true blue baseball cap. He held his breath, he closed his eyes, and he waited. He waited some more. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. He opened his eyes and looked up. There was no hair going this way, no hair going that way, no hair going up, down, not even around and around, and nobody could see the brush stuck in the clump of hair way at the back of his head that looked like a cat's coughed up fur ball. "Ah," said Oliver, sighing a confident job well done sigh. "Ready, everyone?" sang out Mrs. O. "Big smiles and say cheese on the count of 3. 1, she said. 2, she said. And then... Boing, 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 boing. Hair started going this way, hair started going that way, hair started going up, down, around, and the brush was stuck in the clump of hair way at the back of his head that looked like a cat's coughed up fur ball let loose and boinged Mary Margaret on top of her head and boomeranged right into Mrs. Oppenheimer's nose. 3, said the boing to Mrs. O, just as she and everyone else at Biddlemeyer Elementary got a look at Oliver and his bedhead. "Ah, geez!" Click. "Got it," said the photographer. And this is the photo. The end. Under a Prairie Sky by Anne Laurel Carter and Alan and Lee Daniel. When I grow up, I'm going to be a Mountie. But today, I have to help Dad harvest the wheat. We work all day. My black horse Bess watches and waits. Where's Will? Dad asks. My little brother has disappeared. He looks at the late afternoon sky. Storm's coming. Better find your brother. I run to the stable, put on my red serge coat and Stetson hat, blue breeches and polished boots. I saddle up Bess. We march on the prairie, ready. This is a job for a Mountie. I search among the yellow stooks of drying wheat, where little brothers like to hide. Where are you, Will? Tall elevators beside the train tracks. I thread my way between them, looking for Will. He's hard to find, a needle in a grain stack, but I'm on his trail. You can't hide from a Mountie, I call. I know he hears me. My brother Will roams free like the ghost of old Buck, the legendary bronco who carried the bugle boy on the great march west when the Mounties brought law and order to the frontier. I'm on Will's trail. I'll get my man. I ride down the coulee to the valley where Saskatoon berries grow purple and sweet. He's left a bucketful, an easy clue. A coyote calls. I take up my lance and cry, never fear, I'll protect you. Charge! Who's that hiding beyond the dome of willow branches? Out of there, you villain! I've got you cornered, but it's only a heron creeping away on its stilts. Will's trail grows cold, but I won't give up. Come on, Bess, duty calls. My boots are high, my pennons white and red. We canter across the wide open spaces. This is the land where giants ride and little brothers hide in wagon wheels, looking for buffalo heads. I find him catching frogs in the slough. He tries to squirm away with a grin. I've got you now, I say. Storm's coming, Will. We've got to get home. Bess runs, fast and sleek. Dark clouds chase. Thundering outlaws shoot across the sky. Pow! Bolts of lightning fire at us, hail on our heels. Ping! Mom and Dad are waiting. We ride past into the barn. Safe, Will calls, reaching up. Close call. He steals my hat with a grin, runs to the house protected by my Stetson's brim. Leaving me to brush down Bess, my black beauty stamps her foot at him, and I just laugh. All in line of duty, Bess. One day I'll be the Mountie, patrol the land where giants and little brothers sleep under a prairie sky. The end. Dog Breath by Carolyn Beck. Your favorite bone sits on the edge of the rug at the foot of my bed in that spot where the sun makes a big warm puddle in the middle of the afternoon, just the way you left it. 2 floorboards over in a lumpy shadow of your basket lie your red rubber ball, ragged with tooth marks, and a stolen sock, no toe left. We slept here every night, you in your basket curled nose to tail on your dug bare cushion, me in my bed tucked into my quilt. Sometimes you twitched and woofed inside a dream. Squirrels. Sometimes I woke not knowing what was real till your nose touched my face. Dog breath. What is real is the curtain ruffling at the window, pulling away from the quiet in here, slipping outside where the wind runs through the trees like a happy dog, free. You escaped any chance you got. If the door opened a crack, if for 1 second we forgot how crafty you were, out you went, raiding garbage cans, finding stinks to roll in, following your nose for hours and hours while we called and called, thinking the worst. The worst. Suddenly there you were at the door, scratching to come in, smelling like rotten cheese, looking all waggy and happy with yourself. At first, all we did was cry some more. Tears of lost returned to our tears of found. Then we hauled you to the tub. Wet and skinny, fur stuck to your bones, you looked pretty sorry for yourself until you shook end to end. Revenge. We all ran for cover, laughing our heads off. You howled your head off every time I played my clarinet and dribbled your long, cool toilet drinks halfway through the house. That wound-up tail of yours swept good china cups right off the coffee table. Tea islands all over the couch, the carpet, and once great-grandmother's white silk suit. You chewed the mail and ate my dinner on liver night so quietly not even the liver knew. You stole socks, shoes, boots, gloves, and mittens, only ones, never pairs, and food, anything you could get your chops on. Once you stole a whole turkey and a bowl of Brussels sprouts beside it, a special dinner for guests with good clothes and best manners. I guess you didn't know. Mom called you a wretched thief and said it'll have to be hamburgers. You snatched one of those too right off crotchety Isabel Grimpley's lap and got me in trouble for snickering. You were trouble, all right. Last week you really did it. You ate my birthday cake, the whole thing, candles too, and you got yourself so stuffed you threw it up. I was so mad I yelled, I hate you, not knowing you'd never steal another birthday cake. Even now I will remember to push a cake way back from the edges of the counter so your big pink tongue doesn't get a swipe. I check for hairs on my toothbrush and dribbles on the toilet seat. I tiptoe in the front door, listening for your claws clicking across the floor, the judging of your collar, thinking for a second that you'll come slobbering at me, tail whipping, nose sliming my glasses, your stinky, garbage-eating, toilet-drinking dog breath hot on my face, the worst dog breath in the whole universe. The worst. The end. Too Many Frogs by Sandy Asher. Rabbit lived by himself in the hollow of an old tree. He cooked for himself, he tidied up after himself, and at the end of each and every day he read himself a story. It was a simple way of life, no fuss, no clutter, and Rabbit liked it. But one rainy evening he heard a knockety-knock-knock at his door. "It's Froggy," croaked a deep voice. "Don't care for this storm." Rabbit opened the door. "I was about to read myself a story." "Love to listen," Froggy cried, and hopped right inside. "Don't mind, do ya?" "I suppose not," Rabbit said. So Froggy listened while Rabbit read his story. "Well done," he cheered when Rabbit had finished. "Storm's ended too. Thanks for your kindness. Toodaloo." The next evening, as usual, Rabbit finished dinner, tidied up, and sat down to read himself a story. But before he could begin, he heard another knockety-knock-knock-knock. at his door. "It's Froggy," croaked the same deep voice. Rabbit opened the door. "I was about to read myself a story." "I know," Froggy cried and hopped right inside. "Love to listen, but first let's fix ourselves a snack. Or 3. Don't mind, do ya?" "I suppose not," Rabbit said. So Froggy hopped and popped and whipped and flipped and mixed and fixed a snack or 3. Too much fuss, Rabbit thought. But Froggy listened while Rabbit read his story. "Well done," he cheered when Rabbit had finished. "Snack's gone too. Thanks for your kindness. Toodaloo." The next evening, Rabbit finished dinner, tidied up, and sat down to read himself another story. But before he could begin, there was that same knock, knock, knockety, knock, knock at his door. "It's Froggy," croaked this familiar voice. Rabbit opened the door. "I was about to read," he began. "I know," Froggy cried, and hopped right inside. "About to read yourself a story. Love to listen, but first, let's get ourselves all comfy cozy. Don't mind, do ya?" "I suppose not," said Rabbit. So Froggy fluffed and puffed and mooshed and spooshed and piled up billows of pillows. Too much clutter, Rabbit thought. But Froggy listened while Rabbit read his story. "Well done," he cheered when Rabbit had finished. "Bedtime, too. Thanks for your kindness. Toodaloo." The next evening, Rabbit finished dinner, tidied up, and sat down to read himself a story. But before he could begin, there was a knock, knockety, knock, knock. Again. "It's Froggy." Rabbit opened the door. "I know," Froggy cried before Rabbit could say a single word. "You are about to read yourself a story. Love to listen, but first meet the family. Been telling them all about you and your story. Love to join us. Don't mind, do ya?" Rabbit looked at Froggy's family, big frogs and little frogs, dozens and dozens, all wearing t-shirts. Frog family reunion. Too many frogs, he thought. Too much fuss. Too much clutter. "But I do mind, Froggy," he said at last. "You do?" Froggy asked. "I never invited you in," Rabbit explained. "I never invited you to fix a snack. I never invited you to get all comfy cozy, and I never invited your family to join you, so I do mind, very much indeed." "Uh-oh," croaked Froggy. "This will never do. Thanks for your kindness. Toodaloo." Alone at last, Rabbit came to read himself a story. For one anxious moment, he waited for a knock, knockety, knock, knock at his door. It never came. "Don't mind, do ya?" he asked himself with a chuckle. "Most certainly not," he answered himself, and began to read. It was a good story. But something was missing. Snacks make a good story better, he thought. So he fixed himself a snack and read on. It was a very good story. But something was missing. Pillows make a good story better, he thought. So he fluffed himself a pillow and read on. It was an exceptionally good story. But something was still missing. Rabbit blinked once, he blinked twice, and then he sighed. "It's Froggy," he told himself at last. "He loves to listen." Rabbit opened his door. There sat Froggy and his family, waiting patiently to say they were sorry. "Never meant to be rude," Froggy said. "Brought you a t-shirt, Froggy Family Reunion." "Thank you," Rabbit said. "I was about to read a story. Would you like to join me?" "Would love to listen," cried the frogs. And in they all hopped, big frogs and little frogs, dozens and dozens. Rabbit offered them a snack, or 3, and helped them fluff their pillows. Then every frog listened while Rabbit read a story. "Well done," they cheered when he had finished. So many frogs, Rabbit thought. So much fuss, so much clutter. It was a different way of life, and Rabbit liked it. The End. Playhouse by Robert Munsch. One day, Renee went to her father and said, "Please make me a playhouse. Our farm is way out in the middle of the woods, and I have nobody to play with except my little brothers. I need a playhouse." Good idea, said Renee's father, and he made her a wonderful playhouse. It had real windows and a slide and a ladder and an upstairs and a downstairs. It was almost a real house, but not quite. The next day, Renee moved lots of stuff from her room into the new playhouse, and it was even more like a real house. Then she drew fish all over the walls of the playhouse, just like the ones on the wall of her real bedroom. Renee was happy for a whole week. Then she went to her mother and said, "Is this a city playhouse or a farm playhouse?" "Well, Renee," said her mother, "we live on a farm, so this must be a farm playhouse." "Good," said Renee. "If it's a farm playhouse, it needs a play barn." "A play what?" said her mother. "A play barn," said Renee. "I've never heard of a play barn," said Renee's mother. But she was such a nice mother that she built Renee a play barn. It took her 2 weeks. Renee moved some hay and some chickens from the real barn into her play barn, and it was almost a real barn, but not quite. Then Renee went to her father and said, "I need a play cow." "A play what?" said her father. "A play cow," said Renee. "A farm playhouse needs a play barn, needs a play cow." "I can't build a play cow," said Renee's father, "and the play barn is not big enough for a real cow." "No problem," said Renee. "How about you give me a goat and paint it so it looks like a cow, and then I will have a play cow." So Renee's father got her a goat and painted it so it looked like a cow. Renee put her play cow, which was really a goat, in the play barn, and she felt like she had a farm of her own, but not quite. Then Renee said to her father, "My play farm is out in the middle of the woods, just like our real farm, so it needs the tractor and the bulldozer and the tree snipper and the log chopper. Why don't you just park them by my playhouse? And then you will not have to make me anything new." So her father parked the tractor and the bulldozer and the tree snipper and the log chopper beside the playhouse, and Renee played quite nicely for a whole month. Then Renee went to her mother and said, "A farm playhouse needs a play barn, needs a play cow, which needs a play tractor, needs a play mommy and a play daddy." "A play who and a play what?" said her mother. "A play mommy and a play daddy," said Renee. "No," said Renee's mother. "You already have a real mommy and a real daddy. You don't need a play mommy and a play daddy." "The real ones are too bossy," said Renee. "Ha," said her mother. "I am not going to make you a play mommy and a play daddy." So Renee cut a cardboard play mommy and a cardboard play daddy and stuck them on the side of her playhouse. And while she was at it, she made 2 play brothers. When Renee came in for dinner, there was a scarecrow sitting in her chair. "What's that?" said Renee. "That," said her mother, "is my play Renee. She's always nice and never bossy. You can eat play food out in the playhouse with your play mommy and your play daddy." Renee said, "Play Renee and I are going to go outside." Then the real Renee took play Renee and fed it to the play goat, which was play cow, which was really a goat. The goat ate all the clothes and all the straw, and soon play Renee was completely gone. Then Renee walked into the kitchen and gave her mother a kiss. "Was that a real kiss or a play kiss?" said Renee's mother. "That," said Renee, "was a real kiss, from a real bossy daughter for a real bossy mommy. Now, can I have a real dinner with my real family?" "No problem," said her mother. "I like real bossy kids better than play kids anyway." And everyone had a wonderful dinner. The end. Okay, everybody, well, thank you for watching this kids reading. I hope you all have a great day.